Our guest this morning is noted sports reporter and award-winning author, Jerald L. Hoover. Good morning, Professor. How are you, my friend? Been a long time.
Good morning, Bobby C. Good morning. Yes, it has too long, as a matter of fact, too long.
I thought it was of interest to have you back here on the show because, of course, your book series has done so many amazing things for youngsters in the community. And when I was, going back to look through things, I just can't believe that it's been so long. Over 25 years since My Friend, My Hero was published. It celebrated 25 years in 2019. And this process for you really has been a lifelong journey because it took you 9 years to put that book together. You first started writing it when you were just 17 years old. Tell us a little bit, like an update about the series and in particular that book.
Yeah, like I said, took 9 years. Now, what's interesting, it didn't take 9 years to finish it, right? It took 9 years to get it from my head to the typewriter, back then typewriters, on into a publisher's hands where they would accept it. I got rejected over 40 times. When I started in 1983, it got published in 92, right? So it was 8 years once I started sending the books out to publishers. I got rejected like 5 times a year, at least 5 times a year, over 40 times. Finally got hit in 92. And from there, BC, it just took off. And I was still doing a lot of stuff sort of out of the trunk, but the inroads I was making in schools, churches, community-based organizations, the people that I met, and where I was able to take my career as a writer and other things. I met you because we started covering games. I became a sports writer, became an adjunct professor, and a lecturer, even though I stutter. So one of the things that I try to impart onto young people is that it's not where you start and even how you start, but just start, because you never know how that flower, that seed can branch into many different facets of your life, and it can make your life grand. And so I've been blessed to do it. And believe it or not, BC, when we published the 25th year anniversary, it was 2019 or 2018 or around that time, but we did it a couple of years late. So actually this time next year will be 30 years.
Wow.
Because it got published in 92. So we'll be celebrating 30 years of the books being published. And now, so we went from My Friend, My Hero to He Was My Hero 2 to A Hopeful Hero. And now Hoop Hero will be out, I will say, before March of next year.
And the series itself too takes place in Mount Vernon. You're a local guy, grew up there. And I know from having our friendship throughout the years that you've talked really about, not just producing a quality creative book and content, but also really focusing in on promoting social and emotional learning, I would say, for the students, and to try to provide strategies for students in the classroom to make better choices and to gain that much needed confidence and to really support and unleash that inner greatness, which I think is what most teachers strive for.
And to that, your point, my buddy, I had a curriculum that goes with the book. So My Friend, My Hero, He Was My Hero 2, and A Hopeful Hero all have a comprehensive curriculum, a student success guide, a teacher's edition to where the answers to the questions and so forth are in their version, and also have a unit assessments where the teachers or instructors can test the students at the beginning of the journey and then retest them again at the end to see the progress that they've made. And I don't doubt in my mind that students will make progress, because one of the biggest compliments that I get is when a student, either is a struggling reader or non-reader, will tell me, Mr. Hoover, no disrespect, but I really don't like reading books, but I couldn't put your book down.
Yeah, Jerald, I mean, it's ironic too, because I often feel, and it's such a privilege to be at BronxNet, because I feel like our mission statement at the station is to not only entertain, as you are doing with these books, but really to teach people and to inspire. And we've been able to use sports as a platform really to try to educate the masses, and in particular young people, use some of these stories of really, like I said, inspiration and hope to try to better our Bronx communities. And I know from speaking to you as well, one of the things that stood out for me with the book is that all four of these stories you have said might have initially been intended for young men of color, but you feel that they appeal to all races, all genders, and that they really were designed to inspire young students around the age of 12 and up.
Yes, and that was the key component, and that is where I think publishers dropped the ball when it came down to not publishing me, because I think they saw it as a black story. I'm like, not a black story. If you have a person in your family that's an alcoholic or drug addict or didn't finish school or whatever, that happens in all races, and so does violence. You know what I mean? And then teenagers. I mean, let's be honest, BC. Boys of different of every persuasion that are teenagers, we think crazy. We're teenagers. Girls can do the same thing. But so when you're talking about trying to help guide young people, you're trying to do that across the board. And that's my mission is books over bullets and literacy save lives. Because I really believe if you're thinking, I mean literally thinking, processing, analyzing, and being a critical thinker, you don't have time to be putting a gun in your hand trying to hurt somebody. You don't have time for all that. You want to do what you got to do, and the righteous way, and make something good of yourself.
I totally agree, and I'm pretty sure that many people agree with you as well, because all the books, multiple awards, even a semi-finalist in the Gotham Screenplay Contest, and recall you getting that big award from former President Bill Clinton. Some honor there.
That was amazing. It was at Central Park, and it was me and there was several people. It was a bunch of us there, and it was an awesome experience. It was America Writing Award, and I even got a stipend, got some money, and the thought came to me, BC, and it still does. I started this journey writing on an ironing board, literally an ironing board. Born in the Bronx, passing houses, 143rd Street, Mars Avenue. So I'm a Bronx kid raised in Mount Vernon, so I claim both. But to be able to write on an ironing board the first 9 drafts from start to finish, and I had the craziness in my mind to think I'm gonna be a published author one day, and I probably didn't know what a published author was. I just knew they wrote books, But I never forget. One lady told me, it was one of my teachers, who actually became my mentor, her and her husband. She once told me, she said, Mr. Hoover, she was a white lady, Italian. She said, "You're gonna make more of an impact than these kids than you think." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, you're not some dead white guy on the back of a cover." I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" She said, "Oh no." She said, "No, I don't know. No, what I mean by that is that they're gonna see you as a young man, as a published author." And I said, "Oh, okay." And but even our dead white guys, paved the way for us, Hemingway and all them kind of guys. Sure. But I knew what she meant. She meant it from a standpoint that when you go into a school or you go into a forum, you'll be able to see and touch these young men. And she became a prophetess, because when I started going to schools, BC, one of the things that I would hear is, "Wow, I never met an author before. I never met an author before." And I'm like, "Wow." I said, "Mr. Millie was right. Miss Trotter," she ended up getting married. Her name was Miss Trotter. I'm like, "Wow, she was right." And then I became more engrossed in what I was doing. Then when the kids started asking for autographs, I really got, what? Now, BC, we cover Knick games. So autographs is not something that media guys, do. But when kids started seeing my face on the back of the cover of the book, and they're like, "Wow, this is you?" And that's when I knew that I can touch them and say certain things to them. That's when I knew I could say certain things to them. And then, of course, when I tell them the struggle of writing the way I did, the 8 years and so forth and so on, then the biggest thing that I get when I tell them that I was born with a speech impediment, I stutter. And I told them, I said, "Hey, I stutter, but I became a paid motivational speaker. I get paid to speak." They said, "What, Mr. Hoover, you get paid?" I said, "Yeah, when I get invited to a school, when I get invited to a forum or to give a lecture, what have you, I get paid, I get stipend. I get money for it." "How, you can do that?" "Yes, you can do that. If you read, write, and understand vocabulary, you can do all of that."
Well, Jerald, congratulations on the latest chapter in this series, and on, inspiring for 3 decades now. For the fans at home, for more on the book series, they can visit theherobookseries.com. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you, my man. And I appreciate seeing you and appreciate you having me.